Our next speaker is the newest accredited pastor in our movement as of 15 hours ago, Miranda Dixon. Miranda is the associate pastor at Unley Park Baptist Church, and she's had many years of experience, particularly in the ministry areas of worship and preaching. In her spare time, she loves sewing and singing and appreciating God's beauty. Worshipping God through beauty and art and music. So please make Miranda welcome as she comes to share a story with us.
Oh, that's better. Oh, so good to be off that blessed donkey for a bit. My back is killing me. They say it's about another day's journey, and at the end of it, for me, a whole new life. My mind still reels when I think of how suddenly my life has changed. 2 weeks ago, it was all mapped out ahead of me. A life of patience, boredom, endurance. Married to a man who didn't like or value me. Constantly trying to hold everything together. Fixing problems he'd caused and appeasing people he'd insulted. And then suddenly, it's all lifted. I'm free. At least, I hope I am. My name, Abigail, means my father's joy. And I think that was true to some extent. My father certainly knew that I could do more, be more, if only I'd been a boy. He didn't really want to marry me to Nabal, but he had obligations and money problems and more daughters. He said to me, at least I would have material security, and that was true. I remember so well the words he said on the morning of my wedding. You'll make it work, Abby. You always do. And I did. Didn't take more than a couple of insults and flying fists to realise that Nabal was not remotely interested in my ideas, in my suggestions, in my contribution full stop. He really just preferred it if I stayed away, unless he didn't. Another thing I learnt pretty quickly was this. Nabal is not good. He's not kind. He's not generous. He's not smart. I mean, even if you're really wealthy, it doesn't pay to put people offside just because you can't be polite. A lot of the things he did were mean and selfish. Not only that, they were against his own interest. And because my life was tied to his, against my interest too. So I had to make it work. Nabal's steward Escher and I worked together to keep that household going. We replaced broken furniture, we sent appeasement gifts, we wrote soothing letters, and generally did everything we needed to do to hold it all together. Meanwhile, Nabal assumes that all his success comes from his forceful and brilliant personality. So anyway, about 2 weeks ago, I looked up to see Escher coming towards me with that look on his face. Oh, Escher, what's he done now? Oh, mistress, I don't think we can survive this sandstorm. Disaster is on my master and his household. He's such a wicked man, no one can talk to him. Just calm down, Escher, and tell me what's going on. Escher explained that David, son of Jesse, Yahweh's anointed, and 600 of his men were camping out where we do our shearing at Carmel. They'd given us some protection and they'd been really well behaved, and David had sent a message to Nabal asking provisions for the troops. Now, that's just what always happens. Everyone knows that. And besides, who wants to make an enemy of Yahweh's anointed? The answer? My husband. Oh, apparently he stamped about, he hurled insults, he pretended he'd never heard of David and refused to give him anything. And now, mistress, there's a rumour that David's heading our way with more than half his men with swords strapped on. Oh, not a moment to lose. I acted as quickly as I could. I gathered together the biggest appeasement gift I had ever put together. We had 200 loaves of bread, we had 2 skins of wine, we had 5 dressed sheep, we had all the grain that we had in the house, a couple of 100 cakes of raisins and figs. It was basically everything we had. But if we didn't act quickly, hunger was going to be the least of our problems. So we packed it all up onto the donkeys, and I sent Esher and the servants off ahead of me, and I rode behind. As I rode across the plain, I prayed to Yahweh. El Shaddai, please protect me. Oh, please keep me safe. Give me wisdom. Give me the words I need to say to your anointed, and give me the courage to say them. As I rode into the ravine, they were all there. Hundreds of men, agitated and restless. And at the head of them, David, tall, good-looking, and red with anger. I felt really small and shaky all at once. What was I thinking to think I could carry this off? Oh, too late now. I slipped off the donkey. I ran towards him. I flung myself at his feet with my face to the ground. I began with abject apologies. Please pay no attention to that wicked man Nabal. He's just like his name. His name means fool, and folly goes with him. I think I said something about all David's enemies being like Nabal. I pleaded with him to accept the gift. He said nothing. My heart was thumping. I snuck a look through my hair, but I couldn't read his expression. Should I say the things that Yahweh told me to say? Oh, it's risky, but I think I must. All right, here goes. Please forgive me if I have offended you in any way. Yahweh will surely reward you with a lasting dynasty, for you are fighting Yahweh's battles. Now the picture that I saw. Even when you are chased by those who kill you, who want to kill you, you are safe. Your life is safe with Yahweh your God. You are secure in his treasure pouch. But the lives of your enemies, they will disappear like stones shot from a sling. Now, here's the really risky bit. And when Yahweh has done all that he has promised, and you are leader of Israel, don't let this be a blemish on your record. Then your conscience will be free from the staggering burden of needless bloodshed and vengeance. And a final good word for me. And when Yahweh has done all these great things, please remember me, your servant. He still said nothing. And then I felt big, work-calloused hands lifting me off the ground. And I looked into his face for the first time. And it broke into a wide, genuine smile that lit up his eyes. He made a sound that was a bit like a laugh. And then he said for all to hear, "Praise be to Yahweh, the God of Israel, for sending you to meet me here today. Thank God for your good sense, and bless you for keeping me from murder and from taking vengeance with my own hands. Return home in peace. I have heard what you said. We will not kill your husband." Oh, I have never felt so relieved in all my life. I felt like crying and laughing and wetting myself all at once. When I returned home that night, Nabal had some friends over and he was feasting. He was well in his cups already, and I knew from experience there's no point trying to talk to him then. So I slipped up to my room and went to bed. The next morning, I steeled myself and I went into his room. As quietly and matter-of-factly as I could, I explained everything that had happened and what I had done. Then I lowered my eyes and waited for the shouting to start. But all I heard was this quiet, choking kind of sound. I looked up, and there was Nabal collapsed on the bed. Half of his face was frozen and the other twitching with fear and panic. I ran out calling for Esher, but there was nothing that could be done. Nabal lay unmoving for 9 days. And on the morning of the 10th day, he was cold to the touch. He'd gone in the night. You would think I might feel free or new or alive, but I just felt numb. And then as the days passed, the question started to press in on me. Who am I now that I'm not Nabal's wife? What will happen to me? What will I do? Well, that was until yesterday, when some messengers arrived from David. He had heard what had happened, and he asked me to come and be his wife. Well, I got ready as quickly as I could, and now here we are, riding on a journey to a whole new life. I don't know what to expect. Yes, David is Yahweh's anointed, and I believe he'll be king one day, but at the moment he's an outlaw, running from the king with a band of soldiers. A nice-looking outlaw. I'll concentrate on remembering his beautiful smile and the way that he listened to me. I believe that Yahweh has set this path before me, no matter what happens. And underneath it all, I hear my Father's words. You'll make it work, Abby. You always do. And I will.